Hello, what up everybody? This is J Productions. I'm going to be talking about Bridgerton Season 3 and my thoughts on it, and also some Queen Charlotte. I'll probably start off with Queen Charlotte because I got a lot of rants about Season 3. Yeah. So, Queen Charlotte, I thought I wasn't going to really like it. Not going to like going into it because I was like, I really don't care about the Queen, blah, blah, blah. But her story, it had me bawling my eyes out. Like, at first, her coming for the thing, like, coming in for the marriage, you know, on the thing and talking to her brother and, like, all this. And then her trying to climb the wall. I loved it. Loved it. So good. And then him coming and being like, and her being like, oh, maybe the prince is an ogre, like, type thing. And, she's talking to the prince. Or king, I don't remember. He was a king by then, right? Yeah. And when they're talking, he's like, oh, call me just George. And then later you meet him as Farmer George. And I can't, I'll cry, but like, just the scenes, and then also their footmen being in love was so cute, and seeing them dance in the garden, like their little slow dance, so cute. But it's more so the ending that got me. Also the love confession, I will stand with you between the heavens and earth. I will tell you where you are. And do you love me? And then he goes, I love you. I've loved you since the moment you tried to go over the wall. And then it goes on. But it was so good. And her rescuing him from whatever wacko treatment they were giving him. Wanted to fight his mom. Yeah, wanted to fight his mom. But the end, when like, she's like, George, Farmer George, and she gets under the bed, and they're talking, and he goes, you didn't go over the wall. And she goes, no, George, no, I didn't. And she's like, we did it. Our blah, blah, blah son's wife is pregnant, or their daughter was pregnant. I don't remember who. She goes, we did it, your bloodline will go on. And he goes, our bloodline. It's so cute. And then it zooms out above. And it like shows them from each point of view, them looking at each other. And you see that they see the younger, like when she looks at George, she sees young George. The George she fell in love with. And when he's looking at Charlotte, he sees young Charlotte. The woman he fell in love with. And they're hiding under the bed together. And it zooms out, you see their feet. That is by far very romantic and very cute, and why I felt like I should talk about it and give acknowledge to it in these Bridgerton videos I'm talking about, because theirs was so cute and like pure romance. It wasn't a enemies to lovers trope. It wasn't like, I guess you could say friends to lovers trope. It was like, it was so good. But then my heart shattered when you saw the Queen's footman. I don't remember his name. I think it was Bingley? Yeah, I don't remember. No, Bingley. I'm thinking of Pride and Prejudice. Ignore Bingley. But I saw with a B. But watching him then zoom out when it's like leaving at the end and he's dancing in the garden alone, I started to cry again. I cried so much at the end of that show. It was so cute and so good. Now let's start to talk about season 3. Season 3, Colin to Penelope. I was looking forward to that season so much. I love Penelope as a character. I wasn't super attached to Colin, but I liked that she had been, like, the story of her, like, yearning for him since they were kids. Like, that story and her, like, being such a successful writer and, like, just being amazing. I loved Penelope, okay? I understand Penelope, especially, imagine living in that time and, like, you're supposed to just rely, like, purely, like, you have no worth or value until you are married and you don't have money to your name and all of that. And just being so scared, like, about possibly not getting married off and then being, like, a widow the rest of your life. Or, they don't call them widows. It's only a widow if your husband dies. I don't know what it's called when it's, you just don't get married off. I don't remember what it's called. But being so scared about that and taking that and empowering yourself and writing about what everybody says is, oh, it's just gossip. And it's like, yeah, it's gossip, but you all care about it. Like, it's stuff you all care about. It talks about the real fears everybody has. And it's giving a voice to, as she said, the voiceless. Zelda, come here. Yeah. Girly. What? What's up? You can come on my lap. Come here. No? I don't know what's up with you. But just, and then feeling and, like, risking so much and writing about it and doing something that brings you so much joy. Loved her. I loved Penelope, and I don't get why they had to make them hate each other, because I've talked to people who read the book, and that was never in the book. Like, I don't get why they had to add that conflict in there. Like, it bothered me so much that whole season, Eloise being mad at Penelope. But yet, she was, like, her whole thing about wanting to find Lady Whistledown at first, like, I get she was upset because Whistledown was writing not nice things about some of her siblings. Like, I get that. But, like, at first you were so, like, in awe of Lady Whistledown. I hated that conflict that was thrown in there. I felt like it was very unneeded. And then also, oh my gosh, Colin finally realizing he likes Penelope, right? Finally happening. Or whatever. And he finds out she's Lady Whistledown. This man takes so long to get over it. I'm sorry. It made me so mad that whole season. When he's like, oh, but are you going to give up writing? Like, it wasn't even like he was mad at her what she wrote. It was he wanted her to give up writing. And she was like, no, I can't promise that. And then when they needed it, he needed her to write. And then was a kid, will you give it up again forever? Girl, no. No. But then, when she got to have her little laugh when Cressida was like, you know, being like, oh, you have to pay this or I'm telling everybody. And Penelope's like, it's not a problem. Like, I can pay it. And they're like, and they all look at her go, you've made that much from Lady Whistledown? She goes, and some more. Love it. Love it so flipping much. Made me laugh. Something other than Colin taking forever to forgive Penelope and then finally admitting how he was just jealous because she was a successful writer. I'm spacing. Them deleting or not having more scenes of Penelope and Colin. Like, I'm not talking like spice scenes. I'm just talking about more scenes. I saw more scenes of Benedict and the two friends. You know what I'm talking about. Than anything. I saw so many scenes of that. I was just skipping through them. I couldn't. I didn't care for them. That storyline just got thrown in there for no reason. Also, Francesca and the one guy's storyline getting thrown in there randomly out of the blue. I was fine with Violet's. Violet's didn't take up as much time. Lady Danbury and her brother having to heal their thing. Like, why was this all of a sudden everybody's season? Like, it was supposed to be Penelope and Colin, and I feel like I barely got to see them on screen together. Like, I feel like their story was so rushed. And I felt like, honestly, we saw more of Francesca and that other guy's wedding than of Penelope and Colin's. Besides the dancing scene or the breakfast after the wedding. Like, I wanted more Penelope and Colin. I wanted to see more of their story. If you have a whole book on it, why can't it take up a whole season? Why you gotta throw everybody else's stuff in there? Also, I haven't read the book yet, so. But I feel like Francesca is also getting an injustice because she deserves her own season too. Like, I get they have to show Francesca's season, her falling for the cousin. I get that. I think it's the cousin, right? It's the cousin. Like, I get they have to show that after. Spoiler alert, if you don't know this. So skip ahead. Or stop watching. But her falling for the cousin after he dies. But wasn't the whole point of her falling for the cousin and wanting to be with the cousin because she really wanted kids? Which makes no sense to me if the cousin's not a Michael anymore and it's a Michelle. Don't really care if it's same sex. That's not what I meant. It's just that I haven't read the book again. But someone told me, like, I heard or saw a post or something. I just can't believe everything on the internet, obviously. So let me know down in the comments if it's true. But doesn't she end up going with the cousin because she wanted kids and she didn't have the chance to have kids with the other guy before he passed? Or is that someone just lying because they're probably being homophobic or something? Because, like, I don't care if it's a Michelle or a Michael. I really don't care. I also don't care if Benedict's bi. It's just I didn't want to see that in this season over Penelope and Colin. I wanted to see Penelope and Colin. Not everybody else's love stories. I just didn't like how so much of the story was just everybody against Penn. But we did get to see the mom and sisters have a good healing moment together. And I loved that. Especially when everybody's staring at her and her sister yells, "The bugs!" and is yelling, like, "Now the bugs!" and takes all the attention off her sister. That is a beautiful scene that shows such sisterly love between them. And I love that Penelope used the rest of the money, or the money against, I don't remember who ended up paying Cressida, but Penelope ended up using the money from Lady Whistledown to pay for her sister's dream ball. Or dream party. I guess you might not call it a ball, but I would call that a ball. But I thought it was a fine season. Still liked Anthony and Kate's season more. I loved the snippets of Anthony and Kate in this season. I loved seeing them happy and starting a family. I do think it was weird, though, that the Penelope sisters got pregnant before Kate, or maybe at the same time as Kate, and Kate was showing by, like, the second dance, or, like, during the wedding, and the two sisters of Penelope weren't. Also, I'm confused on another thing. Somebody tell me in the comments down below. But this might just be a rule from back then, but why? How come when Penelope and Colin have a boy, he's not a Bridgerton, he's a Featherington? Is it because the mom, Featherington, didn't have any sons, so her daughters had to have a boy to carry on the Featherington name? So whoever had a boy, it had to be a Featherington last name, and their child doesn't take their husband's last name. Even though Penelope is now technically Penelope Bridgerton. Wouldn't that be confusing? Like, I don't get why their son's not a Bridgerton. Because isn't it just as important to have boys to carry on the Bridgerton name? Or did he get to be a Featherington because maybe his siblings already had a boy? Because Daphne had a boy. But I think Daphne was also taking on the Duke's name. See why I'm confused? This is just confusing. I don't know how it went back then. Or maybe you don't have to, because the Bridgerton name will be carried on because of the sons. But then when Kate and Anthony, if they have a boy, is that going to have Kate's last name and take on Kate's name? Or is that like second sons of Bridgerton? Like, I'm very, very confused on this. But yeah. So that's my thoughts on this season. Overall, I was happy Penelope got a happy ending. Colin got a happy ending. I hope in the next season we get to see them after, you know, like we got to see Kate and Anthony, but I don't know if we will, because they decided to jump cut to like 9 months later and she's had a kid, which also implies she got pregnant at the same time as her sisters, if they all three had babies at the same time, around the same age, you know. So that means they all got pregnant at the same time. So that means Penelope was pregnant before her wedding. Or maybe right after her wedding. That timeline is weird, because they never talk about that. Maybe they do in the book. I will be doing a review on the book once I read it. But I gotta finish Lies of Locklemoor first. So, yeah. So, that was my thoughts on Bridgerton. If you liked this one, I did say my thoughts on season 1 and 2 in another video. These will be posted at the same time, so you can see it as 1, 2 spin-off and season 3. Or you can watch this one and then watch the other. All up to you, obviously. But yeah, if you liked this video, go watch my other videos and like and subscribe. That would be great and very helpful for me. So thank you for watching. This has been Jade Productions.